Okay. Call the meeting to order at 7:04. This is the Middletown Springs Select Board meeting on Thursday, January 22nd. Board members present are Terry Redfield, Isaac Apple, Carl Haynes, Robin Chestnut Tangerman,
Patty Ann.
Thank you. And member Jenny Talkimania, Town Treasurer, Robert McMahon, yeah, former chair of the traffic group, and concerned citizen. Is that it? Your title tonight? And online we have the town clerk, Abby Kenyon. Minutes. I actually did not look at minutes.
I did, before you get the minutes, additions or deletions.
Okay.
Just one, I'd like to consider some form of a resolution based on the craziness of our government agents impersonating immigration, customs, and enforcement, or whatever they're doing, but. Yeah, wait around any point.
Do we have, I think we need executive session again to follow up on
Okay.
for personnel/legal.
So with those additions,
For minutes, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we had January 8th, if you noticed that. Excuse me. I think we had January 8th regular meeting, January 13th budget meeting.
Yep.
And January 20th budget meeting, just a couple of days ago, so you might not have had time to read those, but I think that's what we had outstanding.
Yeah. We have 3 sets of minutes.
I would move to approve the January 8th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any opposition to grouping them all together?
I wasn't here for the 13th.
Okay, we'll go for January 8th. Minutes, the motions have been made to approve and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of January 12th,
13th. I'll move to approve the January 13th budget meeting minutes.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
So 3 in favor, 1 abstention. January 9th, January 20th.
I'll move to approve those.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 4-0.
Thank you.
Robert, do you want to wait till highway section or public comment?
Yeah.
I will wait right after the commissioner's report.
Okay. Town officer reports. Patty, anything for us this evening?
You're still muted, Patty.
I know. I'm trying. I don't have anything specific. I'm here for a town meeting, and anything you guys want to have for town meeting or questions or whatever.
I think, Patty, I'd have to look, I don't know if anybody's looked at them, I think we moved to approve the warning last time, but we probably should do it again, just to, well, we're all here, so we can all sign it. We have the
Getting in front of us.
official document in black and white in front of us, if that works.
Yes, well, yeah, that would be great, seeing as we moved a couple things around.
Yes,
Yeah,
he said, yeah. Thank you for that.
yeah, thank you.
And so if, I mean, I suggested to Terry that you move the two items that you had put at the last, which were relevant to town business, up further on the agenda above the fire department and the Pulteney appropriations. And Terry agreed just for ease of programming during town meeting.
That would be the library, I'm assuming.
The library and the tax exempt for the fire department. I moved those up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you should take a look and make sure it looks okay.
Yeah, I read it and it looked good to me.
Okay.
Um,
And Patty, I just now sent the latest budget, like none of the numbers changed, but we added a couple formulas that were mistaken since the one I sent you on Wednesday.
Tonight?
Just now, like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I've already taken care of all that stuff and I've already started checking it. And I've got to change numbers in the other columns anyway, so
Okay.
I know what your numbers are. And as long as you didn't move things again. I mean, the formulas down the bottom is what I'm assuming is what you changed, not the formulas within the regular spreadsheet that's going to go in the town report. Because the bottom stuff is for your information, won't go in the town report.
Gotcha. Great, thank you.
okay, thank you. Town treasurer,
Nothing tonight?
haven't seen you for so long.
Groundhog Day.
Library, I'm assuming that Crystal will be in at some point.
Yeah, she was supposed to be.
Emergency management, nothing. Well,
Thank you. Fortunately.
probably you should actually put out another warning about cold.
Bet the extreme cold.
Yeah.
We should, something.
Is there a, I know where there was with the heat, is there like a certain amount of days under a certain temperature that we have to keep this building open and locked for people, just like the extreme heat?
Not that I'm aware of, it's a.
I don't believe there's a warming center. I think there's only a cooling center.
Okay.
I will just add that if you have something to send out, it can also go out through the town website to go to everyone who gets the town newsletter alongside Front Porch Forum.
Great,
But I can't send it if I don't have it.
yep. I will write something tonight and send it to you.
When are you going to sign that in the agenda here?
I thought, well, it's not correspondence, is it?
Because there is one past discussion last summer about putting on the ballot to eliminate the road commissioner position. That was discussion last summer that came up. And if it's gonna happen, it has to be on that warning. Just as of now, it has to be done the year before the term's up. That was the discussion that Herb had some talk about, that if it's going to be done, it would have to be done. And I thought of that today, that we haven't had any other discussion on it.
Patty, what is the date that the warning needs to be finalized?
Not, not less than 30 days before and not more than 4.
Yeah, the warning needs to be finalized by the end of next week, but it would be really great if it got done today.
This is the 40 days is today.
And our next regular meeting's in 3 weeks.
That can be signed.
Right, I mean, I was just thinking if someone were to bring in a petition.
They had to be in last,
Petition deadline was the 15th.
Okay,
was last week.
yeah. Then, I am expecting you to sign this tonight.
Well, I just wanted to, I don't know where the discussion came from.
So your concern is that it has to be on the ballot this year because the term is up in 2 years, right?
No, next year.
Next
Yeah,
year.
well, 2 elections. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so,
But you have to do it a year in advance to get everything.
because it gets voted in 1 year and then it started the following year, then to vote it out, you have to vote it out the year previous. You know. I don't know
What
where.
was the,
I
what
don't
was the
know where-
impetus for having that conversation?
That was, I don't know. That's something that Herb had discussed.
Well, Herb's no longer on the board.
Yeah.
I just wanted I thought of it today that we hadn't had any other discussion on it, so.
I would say whatever that discussion was, it never got off the ground and
Good luck with her.
nobody petitioned anything by Monday, as of past Monday. And unless this board here is prepared to do something, which we haven't discussed it, so I don't think it's of any interest to
I
us.
just wanted
I
to,
would say it's a moot point.
But, I mean, you can just pick up that slack, right?
We get, yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
no. I think that's the chairman's category.
You need another feather in that cap.
I think I'm going to declare an emergency.
With that, well, we were talking town officers and so on, and as long as Patty's present, maybe that's a good time to bring up the warning and take care of it.
I think so. I was thinking sort of under correspondence, but it's not. Let's do it.
Well, it's, yeah, sort of, but anyway, I'll move that we adopt the warning as presented. It's the same figures we discussed the other night. As Patty said, we moved a couple of the items around to make it a little clearer to read. All the Middletown Springs items are Middletown Springs, and then you get to the fire department and the tax request for the fire association, the fire department, and Fulton Rescue Squads. So I think the order reads better. Makes more sense. I had put the library item, next one down with the other financial requests, but I think this reads more orderly and organized. And thank you, Patty, for your input. So I'll move to approve the warning and have the board sign off.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Carries 4-0. And we'll pass it around for signatures.
Actually did something.
Another thing on health officer. Traffic safety task force. You want to go after the commissioner report, code commission report. Nothing from the auditors. Anything delinquent tax.
Did we get the audit contract from?
So not in correspondence.
I have not,
Not in our
they said they would
correspondence.
send it in, so I will just call them and verify they did that. Thank you, Leslie. Patty, you haven't seen a contract from Sullivan Powers, have you?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Okay. That's one of the tax collector. Anything trustees of funds, planning committee, anything. And that circles us back around to the light.
Right on time, as usual. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I'm overly scheduled as usual.
Timing is impeccable.
Perfect. Alrighty, so, well, first off, we'll just start with a general update on our project. So they're continuing to get their work done. The windows are in, as you see. Their siding, I think, is gonna start to go up soon. They are finished, the subcontractors are finishing up inside, getting all their rough-in done. And they anticipate putting some sheetrock on next week, starting next week. They'll start that upstairs and then while the subs kind of finish off some of the downstairs. And then they'll move on to the downstairs. They will then, after sheetrock, they'll put some paint on the walls, maybe a primer, maybe they're unsure. We have to pick colors, so that's one of the stumbling blocks to pick some colors. They will take the break. I think I had mentioned they were planning on taking a little hiatus for about 6 or 8 weeks. So they're thinking now that will probably start the end of February, closer to the end of February. They were thinking it would be closer to the beginning of the month, but they hit some delays with some of the subs needing to get some other equipment or things that took a little longer than expected. So they will take a break the end of February. They'll be back, 6 or 8, mid-March, end of March, beginning of April, whenever weather is warm enough to start doing their outside concrete and other stuff outside. And then they'll finish, at that point, they'll finish the floor inside and whatever else inside that needs to be finished work. All the bookcases are ready to go up upstairs. And yeah, so that's where it's at. I would also remind folks, if you want to come and see the building, we're going to do that with the library board next Wednesday about 6 o'clock, or at 6 o'clock, and about 6 o'clock before our meeting. So I mean, obviously you can certainly go and see the building anytime if you wanted to. It's not top secret, but we are going to do that. So if you wanted to do that next Wednesday at 6, we're all going to do that together. There might be some sheetrock up by then, maybe. Yeah, so we were in there yesterday. It's looking really nice. There was a lot of things stored in there. All the windows were in the upstairs, so that was taking up a lot of space, but those are out in the building, so you get a better sense of the room as a whole, which is going to be really nice. So that's where we're at on the new project. Any questions about that? Or curiosities or other C words?
I think we have been able to make a decision on getting the fuel moved out of there.
Oh, right, yeah, so we have, so if you'll remember, back in the day, we had the boiler there, and then we had the underground tank. We had to take the underground tank out, so we put a tank in the kitchen, so they would run the boiler, which then promptly quit and flooded and broke, and so the tank is about half a tank of fuel oil in the kitchen, and they've been graciously working around it, but they are anxious to get it out of their way. So I spoke with Carl earlier in the week, and it seems like the town has used for the fuel. GSK, I think, unless you have a different plan, is they'll pump it out into 55-gallon drums. And then, I don't know, you can coordinate taking one of the, one of that machine
I think
or whatever.
I think we're pumping it out. Tyler talked to them.
Oh,
that
okay.
We're using the transfer tank, and Chuck says there's 3/4 of the tank in the fuel tank up here at the garage.
Okay.
That will take at least half of it in there, and the town owns a transfer tank itself. He's gonna check on whether the trailer is accessible. And he thinks that's a 100-gallon tank that's on there, so that should
Yeah, they say it's
Get it-
about a half, but I
get
don't
it
know
all removed out of that
how
tank.
accurate that estimate
And
is.
that the
but-
tank is,
The tank, the fire department has a use for, so.
Is going to
the
the
fire
firehouse.
department's gonna take the tank. And
So-
you all are gonna take the fuel.
Well,
We,
what's the
and,
fuel for the new heating source?
it
all heat
is,
pumps.
It's all
it
heat
is
pumps?
all heat pumps. It is currently, as designed, electric. Um, there is a conversation to be had about whether some of the, in my very surface understanding of what the heat system is, there are heat pumps for heat pumping. There are also, I assume like this building, there's also another piece of equipment that's related that does more of the hardcore heating. Like heat pumps can't heat in really cold weather, but the heat pumps can cool. And for the really cold weather, there's this other piece of equipment, which is also electric currently. But there is the option to change out some of the equipment inside that for propane. And so the conversation is, we would like to have a generator, which would be propane anyway, so there'd be generator for that. If we switch to those pieces to propane, then there was a thought and I lost it. Then the generator that we might need would be much smaller, because the generator for supporting all of the electric heat is a substantial generator. Is very expensive, and so that's sort of, there's the pros and the cons, but that's not what's budgeted for, and that's not what's planned. So it's an extra expense.
Mhm.
So it's on the list of maybe we can do it. When they had initially designed the system, apparently electricity was much cheaper than propane, and they thought that's the way to go. But now propane is cheaper. So it was offered as an option, and given the generator situation, and so there's things to discuss. So that's not finalized, but it doesn't really, it doesn't matter because the wiring isn't different and the heat goes through the same ducts, and the first floor has a drop ceiling, so all of those things are accessible, even, so the decision didn't have to be made yet. So we're hoping that will be something that we can do, but right now we don't have a final
There is
call on that.
8 heat pumps in the building down there, and they all have an electric coil in the heat pumps
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
supplement
There you go.
the heat pumps.
Yeah.
So the problem, well, what I've heard, that when things failed last year, they hooked up 2 of them temporary in the basement to keep heat in the building.
Mhm.
And the electric bill was $800 with just 2 of them running.
Oh, they were
So,
partially, right.
so
There.
the cost of operating all 8 might be way excessive not to look at other options.
That's true too.
For a secondary, other than them heat
I forgot.
coils that are in them heat pumps.
Mhm.
It's not the electricity for the heat pump. It's the electricity for the
Right.
heat coils.
Yeah.
That's the supplemental heat to the heat pumps.
Yes,
Yeah.
and propane to do that would be a more efficient fuel source, I guess, because it takes more energy for the heat. That to get it up to temperature, to keep it sort of at the temperature, there was a lot of thermodynamic talk about how all that works, and that propane might be a better choice. But that was the professional folks at, what is it, GSK, who did that. I wasn't at that meeting, so I get it all sort of secondhand.
And all these heat pumps, when they bought the 2, they bought all 8. So they've been there since the furnace failed last year because of the price increases and the availability issues. So all 8 been there with the heat coils in them. So
Right, I know, so, things.
it's cost savings then, but it might not be a cost savings now.
Right, well, the conversation, right, and so we had to get them because that's how it all worked out, because the
Right.
heat failed, we had to get something. So we talked, well, why don't we just, instead of putting a temporary system in that we didn't just replace, why can't we get the system that we want to have? So they said, okay, that's fine, but then the company said, if you're gonna buy some of them, you have to buy all of them because there's this change coming in the coolant and then they won't be compatible and you have to buy new ones. Blah, 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 blah. So we had to buy all of them. So it
Yep.
was one of the many situations in this project where it was like, oh, okay, well, we thought it would be an easy solution and then it was not. So that's something we're trying to figure out still. I think that, yeah, that was the only other thing that I can think of right now. Yeah. Any questions about that?
Yeah,
Part.
Thank you.
No. Okay. So then the other part was this idea, the whole selling the building situation. I did send you all the packet. I don't know if you saw that, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I did call Gary. I sent it to him. I talked to him afterwards. He said there's nothing in the deed that precludes it from being sold. He just suggested that the select board have an official vote to sell it, to approve it to be sold. And then that would be fine. There was nothing else that needed to be done in his opinion.
I think we need to be very clear,
Mhm.
and have it in motion where the proceeds go. Just because it was given to the library,
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah,
but it couldn't be given to the library, it was given to the town.
right,
You know, and I see it, I mean, it's the library building, I see.
Right.
them replacing one library building with another, and
right,
I think that's where the proceeds should go, but I think we need to be very clear in the motion.
Mhm.
yeah. I see where you're going with that, and I'll admit, and so I haven't talked to the library board about this yet, because we haven't met yet. But because we were sort of thinking on the same lines, that it should go to like, we would feel it would go to a place, I don't know, a magical fun
Okay.
place in the bank, I don't know, where it would be like money for library use, like the library facilities fund was for library use, so it would be for library use. So that's kind of what were thinking, but then I had a thought, and again, I haven't talked to the library board about this, but and I wasn't going to talk necessarily about it tonight because we haven't met yet, but since you've mentioned it and want to put it in the motion, which feels restrictive, is that I just wonder if if it might be beneficial somehow to have money that isn't bound by language on a ballot item or language in a motion, because I feel like the question of town facilities maintenance and care and all of that is not settled. Like, I feel like we are putting money in budgets, so we're putting money in budgets for that, but I don't think we're clear on who's gonna make those decisions and who's gonna keep an eye and who's gonna be the point person. Like, I feel like they're at some point, I mean, with three large facilities, like this one, that one, and then like a town garage, with three large facilities coming online, I feel like there's gotta be a facilities manager somewhere in the mix somehow. I mean, there's nobody at the library board or library staff that's gonna be able to manage the building, like, and new buildings certainly probably don't have many problems, but like, when the red light comes on in the furnace,
Right.
what do we do? Who do we call? So it's a conversation I feel like we haven't really fully explored. And so I was just thinking that this is potentially money that could maybe that could be used to in an unrestricted way that can be used to start thinking about that. So because we just built a budget for next fiscal year that doesn't include anything. And that, but now this is an opportunity, maybe we have a whole year to think about that in a broad way and in a creative way, and what are all the options and what are the things that are going to make it hard? What are the things that are like, hard stops that we can't overcome? What are the things that are challenges but maybe could be overcome? I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. Otherwise, the problem just kind of persists and we sort of eke along and Patty gets the call, or Carl gets the call, or the town crew gets the call, or Peter Stevenson gets the call about what do we do, or who do we call? And it's not necessarily someone who knows specifically how to fix all the things, but they're just like the point person who
Yeah.
coordinates that.
Yeah.
But I don't, I mean, I'm not saying that's the solution, but I worry about putting that into the motion and that it's only for library use. And that, does that limit us, then it couldn't be
So.
a solution for something else later? That's,
Different question.
yeah,
There was just discussion about a vote to sell the building.
Yeah.
Selling the building. Where does that stand in terms of a realtor?
yeah, so so in my mind, the timeline is you all vote to sell the building and just sort of at that. I think there's another opportunity once we like have an offer or whatever to decide to make a motion. If you wanted to talk about where the money would go, then you would have, a specific amount and you could make, a motion to accept an offer and put the money in a certain place or use it in a certain way. I mean, I think not that money, that decision doesn't have to be made in the motion to sell it. I think there'll be other opportunities to make a motion if you wanted to, that dictated where that money, how that money could be used or should be used. Just so that we have a little more time to kind of think through what are the options and how does money coming in this way, like what opportunities does it create?
I guess, so my.
But we did have a conversation with the realtor. I don't know, maybe you weren't here. I said this at one other meeting, but maybe you were here. But we did have a conversation with the realtor. It's a contract. Someone from the select board would have to sign it because it's a town. I mean, I would also sign it as a library board person, but it does have to be signed by somebody on the select board. So that contract to go, to start the realtor process would have to be signed by someone here.
Right.
As well as someone on our board or me. Is that what your question is, or you have some?
My question is with looking at the timeline.
Yeah.
With a 6 to 8 week break at the end of in a month or so.
Yes.
It's not going to be ready to. I mean, it's not going to go on the market for a number of months still.
No, we're looking to put it on the market like as soon as possible. That's what we're thinking. And that should an offer, a sale or whatever be something that happens more quickly, we would put in our terms or whatever that we would do a rent back or other words. These are words the realtor said. Rent back, or we would negotiate that we're not going to be ready to move over there until whenever it is, we say like August or whatever, that we would include those things in the deal. But I think again, we haven't officially discussed this with the library board, but we're looking to put it to kind of get that process started as quickly as possible. The proceeds from the sale of the current library are not in any of our numbers.
Right.
It's not in our fundraising. It's not like counted for there. It's just this other, because we didn't know when it would come or how much it might be. So it didn't make sense to kind of try to put it into our picture, which makes it, flexible in that respect too. It's that it's not accounted for, earmarked for anything. Particularly right now.
You just don't want to pay double, like electricity or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That's why you want to do it sooner.
Yes, because we don't, right, exactly. We wanted to get it going because we wanted to limit the amount of time the town or the library, whoever, taxpayers are having to pay for two buildings. Because even though,
Patty's got a question.
I didn't see Patty. Patty's up there. Patty, hi Patty.
Yes, Patty.
I can wait for you till you're done, Crystal. I'm just trying to get some clarification, but when you're finished, I will ask my question.
I can ramble forever. I don't have any other other things to say about it.
Did you finish your?
Well,
Oh yeah, we're mid. I don't know.
But yeah,
Was that answering your question, or there was more to it?
I'll sort back.
Like I feel like that's not what I'm asking. Patty, maybe you can shed some light. What's your question?
Well, I don't understand what you're talking about. So that's my first question, because I've not heard there was, this is the first I'm hearing that it's a rush to sell the building, which was news to me. So I'm wondering, after skimming through some of this information, is what you are asking, what is needed is not a town vote, but just the select board itself can vote to sell the building? Is that the determination from Gary? Is that what you were saying?
Yes. The question from Gary was more about if there was something that limited the building as use for a library, or if the select board was gonna have to also have a conversation and a vote about changing the use for it, or if there was some other stipulation, because there was some conversation and in some of the other documentation about reference to that it was given to the town for a library. But the legal document is the deed, and the deed doesn't have any of that language around limitations of use. So we just want to make sure that there wasn't some other decision that had to be made, and he said there's not. All the select board has to do is just vote to sell it because it is town property and they have to just vote to sell it. And then once there's an offer, you have that information too. There's a process that you have to go through to actually sell it. But that's not until there's a person who wants to buy
And
it.
is that process, is that what's outlined in this selling town property
Yes.
document?
Yes.
Because
it's in there.
when I read that, it's intimating to me that you need a vote, a town vote, not a select board vote.
No. I mean, the select board can just vote to sell it, to just put it on the market, the act of
We're-
selling it,
so-
not the specifics of to it. Once that document outlines that once you have a person and a price who's gonna sell it, the select board has to put it out in whatever the language is, a newspaper of common circulation, and post it in 3 places that this person is gonna buy this property for this amount of money, and you have to post it for 3 weeks or whatever the timeline is. And then if someone has a problem and does a petition, and gets enough signatures, is it just 5?
It says
Get 5 signatures to say, or 5%, 5% to say, we disagree with this choice, then you have to have a townwide vote. Or the select board says,
Number 2 says you can have a town-wide vote. The vote, they skip the first step and they put the vote directly to the people.
right, that's
That's where,
it says that, I mean, that's within the purview of the select board. They could not do it that first way and just jump to the vote, but they don't have to do that.
okay, so that's where the clarification I need comes in. Has the
Yeah.
select board made that discussion and had that discussion and talked about that decision?
No,
I guess not, no, not technically, I suppose.
Yeah, we just got the final information.
Right. I think we were just
Report
waiting
back,
to
yeah.
hear from Gary if there was what exactly the select board had to decide on. But it's actually, I feel like in my mind, it's a different thing because the townwide vote, I mean, to that documentation, that would have to include the information of who's gonna buy it and for how much. My question is just, can we put it on the market? And a vote, and Gary's advice was just to the select board vote to start the process of sale, I guess, is not so much, maybe it's a verbiage thing, but.
Like this step 2, like number 2, is that outlining, instead of waiting the 30 days for someone to sign a petition and get 5%, we just, as soon as we get the information of who's buying it and how much, we put it to a vote.
You
Is
could,
that what number 2
right,
is?
that's what number 2 is saying, like,
So either way, we first have to agree to sell it.
right. And get
Yeah.
get a contract, I guess, so that you would have a
Well,
person and a price to.
I'll throw my 2 cents in that I don't feel that we should proceed with anything on that property until we know where the town equipment's gonna go after December 31st. That if we need someplace to plug trucks in that is reasonable, I think we don't need to be in a rush to part with that property right now until we have a direction that we're going to be able to build on West Street and that there is the possibility of doing something down there this year. The ability of keeping all the equipment up here outside plugged in is limited. If the sand and salt pile is there too, and you're not using the town garage after December 31st. So that's my feeling, that we shouldn't do anything more toward liquidation of that until we have a direction. For sure, but that is a much more feasible location to store trucks than would be on the vacant property all the way down on West Street. Starting the 1st of January, if that was the case. I mean, we can always look at other places to plug them in, but there's too many.
Safer in this, near the center of town. Yeah, you could erect a Jersey barrier foundation, a hoop building at relatively low cost too, to get undercover temporarily perhaps. That's not a bad idea really to think of as a safeguard.
Our property we rent now, I do believe that landlord is still in Florida. I would like to have a conversation with him to, we need to look at all the options. We've got feelers out there, but right, with my understanding now, we're waiting for FEMA, so that after 6, 8 months or longer that we thought everything was under process, it wasn't, and now finally in the last 3, 4 weeks, we have a survey and paperwork submitted, so that doesn't mean if we need something to tie us over for the rest of the winter, that would be my feelings at this point in time.
Yeah, so what I guess changed? It didn't seem like it was a rush to sell it until
Oh,
tonight, I guess.
I don't know if it was, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's not rushed to sell it, it's just, it seems like the less time, cause our budget that we submitted has a guesstimate on what the new building is gonna cost, and it has nothing included for upkeep of the old building, like, we don't have any plan for that. So that's a cost that will have to come from somewhere. And so our thought was really just, if we could just turn it over quickly, it would be less time that the town would have to pay for an empty building or 2 things. But obviously, I mean, we know that there's this other pressure of the town garage and all of that, and so that's real.
Right, but so if the town took over the
Right,
upkeep and the maintenance, once you're out, the town takes over the payments on that building because they're keeping it just in case, then that wouldn't affect your budget.
No, you're right, it wouldn't, and so it was just about trying to sort of get it underway. And I mean, and also, that it would be a chunk of money that would be able to be available for, in theory, I mean, we were thinking for library use, or, this is my other brainchild, which I haven't talked to anybody about that. So it would just be a piece of money that could be a part of a solution to another challenge that the town has. And so it was just about thinking about, the quicker we can get that money, the better. But there may be other things that warrant consideration.
I mean, I think that balancing it, Jared, one of my concerns is that we don't just delay for the sake of delay and sit on it and wind up having an empty building for 3 years.
Right. Right.
I do not want to do that. I would love to see it sold. I'd hate to see trucks on it, but if that's January 1st, they've got to go somewhere. And so.
I mean, we have
that's a
also, I
valid
think,
point.
yeah, I mean, maybe potentially the other solution, and I don't know how serious folks are, but we have had inquiries about folks who might be interested in it. So we thought, oh, well, because for a while we're like, well, who would buy an old church/library? I mean, is there an audience for that? But then there maybe seemed like there was some audience. So we thought, well, maybe why don't we get going? But again, there are other considerations. So it is what it is.
Who's the realtor that you've been speaking?
We talked with, she's from, what's it called? Her name is Cynthia Hollister, New York and Vermont, and Sarah Haley is her sort of partner, and so I think Sarah would be kind of our local contact. We haven't signed anything obviously with her, but yeah, so that's the person we spoke with.
Did she view the property?
Yes, she came. Let me talk with her, yeah.
And the big question is, was there a number discussed?
Yes, she did sort of run through some ideas of numbers based on kind of square footage calculations, just. I mean, there's no other, like, used to be a church and then was the library. And, there's not really apples to apples comps, but there was, similar square footage in this town. And an average of square foot sale prices and calculation, and she did have sort of an idea where she might start.
Which is,
Did you want me to say it out loud?
yes.
I thought that has to go in.
It does have to be like a super
executive
secret,
session,
like
right? Yeah.
executive session
It's real
thing?
estate.
No,
I was wondering about that because when it's listed, I mean,
right.
the price is that's public information,
I don't know.
asking price.
I don't know. I'm happy to, I'm not trying to
Yeah,
safeguard it. I just
yeah.
didn't know if that was like,
It's, I think
Okay.
when we get an offer, that's executive session.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. And it's not, I mean, she might have other ideas. I mean, I
Yeah.
think what she had taught, I believe she was thinking maybe we would start at like 130 or
Mhm.
something like that. I think is what she was thinking. That's, I
You
don't
know, the whole, in my mind, we bought this church library for 100,000. It was purchased for, are we talking about 30 to 50,000 for the old one? Or are we talking
Oh.
150,000,
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
But water and sewer in any lot is worth 50 nowadays, easily 50 nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a driven well, not a drilled well. So that is a factor.
And it's a 0-bedroom.
It's currently a 0-bedroom. And 1.18 bathroom. I don't know, not 1.18, 0.18 bathroom.
Got a lot of reading.
There's a lot of reading notes, a lot of comfortable little spots to. Anyway, so. It's the town's building and it's your purview to decide when or if you put it on the market, but that, so.
Mhm. Well, I think it's obvious we aren't ready to vote this
It
evening.
would seem, it would seem.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously, I think we wanna sell it and not maintain two buildings when we get to that point, but right now, I think it's a bit premature to
Mhm.
say, yeah, let's go gung ho, let's list it and see what happens. Let's wait just a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was, the property, that 10-acre parcel where I was talking about on Tuesday night, when I found that. And it hadn't been on the market 2 days, and it had, when I saw it, it was 613 views on it already online, there's a lot of interest out there, I guess.
Yeah, and it's sold.
Get out.
No, I mean, true.
802 U in Vermont or whatever it was.
Yeah.
802 Realtor for you.
802 for you. It was kind of like,
Better call Saul.
yeah, something.
Are you the involved realtor?
No,
It's something.
Well, that's
Sounded
too
fake.
bad.
I'm a disinterested party in this case.
Yeah. So is the numbers on, like, you have how much it costs to upkeep that building, obviously, but per month,
Oh,
the current building.
oh, yeah.
So if the town were to take it over, we have those
Oh,
numbers.
Yeah. We have the numbers for what we use it for, but I can't imagine to be occupying it any more than the
Right.
library occupied it. But we're not gonna rent it back from you, just so you know.
Interesting. Because I did have somebody who wanted to talk to me about putting in an offer. So I did talk to the agent on that parcel, and she said that they had received an offer, done a verbal acceptance on it.
Already,
Yeah, and I'm checking the status of it, and the status is withdrawn.
oh, interesting.
Like it's not on the market now.
Huh.
So it's not under contract. It's
Hmm.
not pending. It's not active. It's not closed.
Maybe somebody was just like, I wonder what somebody would pay me for this.
Yeah.
If I wanted to sell it,
Yeah.
maybe.
The town office scuttlebutt is the guy wants to sell it quick, so
He does, is that what you said?
he did want to sell it quick.
Oh,
Where is it, Brian?
Haley Road.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so.
So that is the thing, but that, I mean,
Yeah.
money's not in our, it's not like we're counting on that. So it's
Right.
not accounted for in, fundraising, so it's
That's
not,
what we did.
right, it's not the, in my mind, it's not the end of the world. Again, I would just say, I've been thinking that there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot going on in town right now, like as far as new properties and new things and maintenance of them and with things we've never had to think about or deal with before in a big, like centralized way. I mean, there's been, it's been compartmentalized. So I just feel like we need to have a really serious, like, conversation about what that looks like going forward and how do we do it now and what are the pros and cons of that and what are the different ways it could happen and what are the pros and cons of those? How do all like the reserves for maintenance and facilities, all those little things, how do they tie into that? Are there changes that need to happen? You know what I mean? Like, I think now it's a good time. I mean, it's a good time. And sale of another building, and it's just a really good time to kind of regroup on all of that and
Right.
kind of, I feel like make a plan going forward instead of feel like we've been making the situations that are coming up kind of fit into the plan that we have. And at some point, I feel like it's a good idea to just step back and say, like, maybe let's just reevaluate. Is the plan we have one that's going to work going forward, or do we need to do some different things? And proceeds from a sale, whenever it should happen, and how would that tie into making that easier or not as easy, whatever that looks like, it would be.
Yeah.
Just money that we didn't count on as a town, and how could we make the best use of it?
I look forward to your participation in that.
Yes, well, I think it's probably like, more meetings, but I think like a subgroup of
Yeah.
people from this board and people from our board and. I mean, I don't know, highway people, maybe if they're in, I mean, I don't know what the deal is with the,
So
I
you
don't know,
don't
who the
think
people are.
we
but-
can take the back windows out of the basement of the church and fit the tandem in there? Is that what you're saying?
You can try that. There's only one, well, there's a door, you can try to get in the door if you want. I realized I didn't finish so they'll take a hiatus, they'll come back in warmer weather, they're looking now at probably end of June. It was the other finishing of that sentence. So it's bumped out a little. We also, we did finalize another kind of in-kind donation for some of the railings that have to be happening. So a local, and I don't know how public it is, so I'll just say a local person has said that they will donate the railings. So that's it's gonna be a big, some savings for us in the project, so that'll be really nice. The railings, there's railings for the handicap ramps, obviously, and there's some railings inside, I think, that they were doing. And then there was some additional railings that weren't in the initial plan, but they're gonna be willing to do those at cost, and not charge extra, so that's gonna be really good, because those railings weren't in the plan and weren't in the budget, but they have to happen because the sidewalk has to go, I think we talked about this, has to go out and down to the back parking lot. And there was a whole thing about what's the pitch of that and could it go without railings, but the without railings version tilted the ground back towards the building, so the water that's not good. So it has to be steeper, and therefore it has to have railings. But so anyway, that was a great gift that person was willing to do. So that's going to save a little money for us. I think that was it. Building wise, unless you have other questions, or if I promised to say other things that I haven't said, can't remember.
I'm sorry we're asked.
You're sorry, what?
We asked.
Yeah, you are. You should be. Don't ever ask questions. You'll get very complicated answers. Patty, did you have any other questions? Is it just Patty?
She said no.
No, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Crystal.
That's it. It took up all that time.
That brings us to town highways.
Okay, the Sullivan Woods issue, the Conservation Committee met this week. I got up and looked at it. I told them that I do believe in the springs, we should have no problem putting a handrail. The obstacle that I looked at, they want to use the existing stones that are there for a step. But I asked if there was any problem with dropping the top stone wall. Cause you step up on the last stones and then step back down to dirt. If you could take that down, you wouldn't have to make a U-shaped handrail to get up over that and back down to try to keep it somewhere at that 30 to 32 inch height over that. So they didn't see any problem with that. But the response was they want a handrail on both sides of it. So we'll have to look at that in the spring to figure out how much width
Right.
they want, because the stones are only, basically 2 foot for steps. I don't, it's easy enough to probably get 2 handrails on one side, but is it, make it totally accessible? So we'll look at that in the spring when the ground's more feasible to work with, but they have no problem with dropping them stones out of the stone wall to make it more of a transition to the dirt. So,
On that topic, I think I had heard from someone, I can't remember who, that at one point you talked about maybe there was a railing
yeah.
at the church, but that might be part of, they might have that accounted for
Yeah,
in their
no,
design,
that's
so I don't,
fine.
I don't know that for sure, but
Yeah,
just if you wanted to use that.
I glazed at that when I was down there the other night, and I don't think that, I think we're just talking a single bar.
Oh, okay, just
Single.
because they think that might be calculated.
I think we'll probably just get a small branch, stick, whatever to use, so it's more conducive to the Sullivan
natural.
Woods
Yeah.
and some locust post as opposed to pressure treated, something that is more conducive to the environment.
Locust posts, or you can find some nice pieces of cedar and Pleasant View Cemetery. You can make cedar posts and you can get some good long branches and make something
For a rail. Yeah.
for a rail, and so, yeah, keep that in mind.
So, and then Chuck did talk to United about the backhoe today. They really feel that it's the tires that created the vibration. He said they're supposed to get back to him tomorrow, but the feeling was at United that between John Deere and United, that they will replace the tires on that backhoe to a not aggressive tire. So it will be more of a turf type tire instead of
R4 tire.
this is what Chuck said, and if they're paying for it and John Deere's paying for it, we'll get what we get. We can go get the backhoe if we absolutely need it, or they can wait and have them installed in their shop before we take it. But I don't see that between now and Monday or a day or two next week, if it can come together. If it comes together tomorrow that they're gonna eat the cost, we might just leave it there till they get it done in their shop, because they have a tire company do it. So then the next thing is the availability of the tires. The 1 ton is still at Earl's. As of today, they say the springs had not arrived yet to be installed in that. Chuck had asked them about increasing another spring into the spring, because it was, the springs were the ones that they do believe came on the back, on the 1 ton to beef up the springs on it, so they were going to add 1 more spring to it. And then we're involved with the salt shortage. He called to get another delivery of salt, so we didn't run out, and Barrett Cargill doesn't have any salt. The rail cars of salt are not coming in. They're at least 2 to 3 weeks behind on delivery when they come in. So, tonight on the news, the city of Virgins is out of salt. But the state of Vermont states that they have ample salt on hand for their roads from the interview. But on that note, can I get permission for him to buy some sand from Jim Mars? Our discussion is that we'll get 7 yards at a time
Mhm.
and mix it with the salt to use on the blacktop instead of using the rock salt, sand that we use.
Mhm.
Get the natural sand, and that will give you more fines. And it should stay, should allow the salt to be stretched out so we don't run out totally.
Right.
So he suggests just because of the weather, just get 7 yards at a time and he'll mix it. I suggested possibly just putting in the salt shed, mixing it in there, but he said, well, we play around too much in there, the salt shed might be on the ground. So he's gonna clear a spot in the corner of the sand pile where it is now to put it, and then they can mix it when they need it to extend the salt that we have. He thinks there's 15 or 20 ton left in the building. So that, barring anything between that and getting 2 or 3, another 20, up to 20 yards of sand to mix it 50-50 to try to get us through till we can get some more salt.
And that's primarily for 140, correct?
Yeah, for the paved roads.
Does that involve moving the rock out of?
No, where they're working the pile,
Yeah,
he's just gonna dump it against the
no,
blocks.
I mean, if you load a truck for the back roads. And you do the back roads, but you need to sand 140, you have to empty the truck.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
They normally start the other way. They do the main road
Do-
first with the salt,
yeah,
and then they go to the back roads. So it's primarily plowed and salted,
mhm,
but without the 1 ton, because it normally is done salted with the 1 ton. So you're having to use, Robert's having to ride around the green truck to get that done, but it was a shock to him when he found this out today, that there's none to be delivered.
yes.
I can recall about 18-20 years ago when I was at AOT. The town of Ludlow board salt from the Agency of Transportation. I'm wondering if we contacted Brian Roberts, if we could have some salt and then we will pay him back.
I mean, they stated on the news tonight, the state has plenty. So I know we have got in past history, that was a possibility, but
Mhm.
just that in my Chuck discussion tonight was that we'll look to try to prolong the amount that we got instead of using it up totally and then not having any, but.
So I mean, that sounds like a good proposal to me, the mixing with
It's
sand.
not,
Did we ever get sand over there for?
yes, there's a pile of it.
There's a pile over by the transfer station gate where it used to be.
Right.
And we couldn't find, last I knew, we couldn't find the sign. We used to have a sign saying sand for public use, but we don't know where that is, but sand was delivered over there. Yeah, I think that's a good option.
I mean,
Extend,
I don't know for sure what he's getting for it, because what he has up there, he's already added some salt to it, I do believe.
Yeah, he did.
So it will have some salt with it. In addition to it, but even, we're paying $98 a ton for the salt. I assume he's getting $25 or $30 a yard for the material, so it stretches our salt immensely dollar wise, so.
Mhm.
The in the grand scheme of things, this idea of going with less and less salt anyway, right? Is this in a way like we can kind of see how that works with this by stretching it a little bit on the
Well,
roads here?
we have always used substantial amount of salt on our blacktop.
Right.
You know, they haven't cracked down on yet. It started in the legislature last year that the possibility of having to record salt use for all roads.
Mhm.
And to my knowledge, it didn't make it out of committee.
Mhm.
You know, just because of tracking it and unless it's something that's coming in the future, but there was a lot of discussion in the session last year about it. So,
So our discussion about using less salt is specifically on back roads mainly, is what Chuck and you were
yeah,
talking about. Okay.
yeah, that, you know, the towns that have gone away to not adding any salt to their sand, and they put it up.
Mr. Chairman and Carl, with the decrease of salt, if we don't have any salt, putting a mix on sand and salt, you'd have to make sure that the road is scraped first. Because salt does not work if you just throw, all right? You have to, it creates a brine. In order to create a brine, it has to be rolled tires, okay? And if we're going with, say, 50-50, 50 sand, the salt, that road really has to be scraped before the application. Otherwise you're gonna get rolled down. And once you get rolled down, you're not gonna get it up unless you put a grader on it. We had rolled down earlier.
What is that?
Roll down,
Yeah.
that means snow and ice packed.
Packed, packed in.
Yeah.
Travel.
That's what we had earlier
Yeah.
this year.
The ice storm,
Right.
Yeah,
the rain that turned to,
in the cutting edge, a cutting edge does not roll on the surface. Cutting edge is about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. Otherwise you'd be wearing out your cutting edge and right down to your moldboard. All right, so, you know, I don't think we would have any problem with Chuck really taking care of it. You know, but it has to be addressed before you get rolled down. If we get rolled down and create a lot of accidents, you know, they're gonna say, whoa, these roads are pretty bad.
And we'll spread the rock on them.
Yeah.
But that was specifically because something, the bed chain broke last time, right?
well,
Like it was,
that happened that morning.
yeah.
And
So it was
then
just a bunch of unfortunate events, an ice storm and a broken.
And
Like last night, excuse me for really interrupting again, but last night Chuck was out before he went home and he put an application of salt on. Then it snowed. When Philip was out this morning, he scraped it, turned around, scraped and put salt in the center. All right, so it works that way. And it worked. That road popped open by 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was wide open. Yeah. Chuck did a real good job.
Yeah, I think that's a viable option. I have no problem with that.
and hopefully, you know, they don't know when they're gonna get the rail cars in. For some reason, they're just not arriving. But other companies had a shortage and didn't know if they were gonna be able to meet their demands, so maybe the whole cycle. And, I mean, there's snow, this weekend it's gonna snow all the way and ice all the way into Texas, so the salt may be going from the Great Lakes south instead of coming east like it normally would. So,
Yeah, they're gonna need it, they don't usually have it.
Yeah.
So we have a need for it.
So by consensus, yes.
Yeah.
And
he was gonna check with him to make sure, and the next thing is if he has it available to sell it, but. So other than those hot topics, I don't know of anything. We have the flashing road sign on the agenda So. Where are you on that? Cause we have talked about it many times, but we have never made a decision to put one on West Street. And if we did, it would be in a 40 mile an hour speed zone down there unless we did change the speed zone, you know, and reduce that, and that's another whole process to reduce that from. It drops up by Nate Horner's to change that 35 back to Fox Bridge and the signage up to it.
Yeah.
And that was,
So I guess what I'm. As far as flashing signage goes or responsive signage. You know, I looked on Amazon, I think as well, and saw the $700 signs, but I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know how it compares to
the $2,800 or $3,000 or $3,500
Right.
ones that are on there,
Right.
you know. We'd have to do some research with the towns that have recently put them up.
Mhm.
You know, I do notice that Poltley's their electric around the school, you know, because they're on some sort of timer for the school, the 25 mile an hour speed zone, but they have meters on them from power. So that school zone over there, so I would assume the school's paying for them, but we're looking for a solar back like they have down on the Wells Pollitt Road from the store out through there. There was a signpost there. It looked like that had been compromised one time I went through it. Some of the stuff was missing off the post, so that leads me to believe we just don't want to not put them someplace where it's around residents.
And Timoth, that we've also talked about it, the bottom schoolhouse road. And I know, so Timoth has the flashing lights on on their school crossing sign, which is 140. Oh, that's town road. And so for us, we would need state permission to do that, right? On the 133.
But as I looked into it there, the school zone is only 300 feet each side of the school. And the schoolhouse hill is more than 300 feet. So there is no school zone on South Street legally. So as far as dropping the speed limit on South Street on the state highway for a school zone, they had looked into it previously and that's not an option. I want to say, when Patty said that they had done that too, and I'd looked it up and found the 300-foot number, and I measured the schoolhouse hill to see what it was from the Y at the bottom of the loop. So that reduces things.
So we'll have to do speed bumps.
Stay
Yeah,
out.
about rumble strips like they put down the center of the road.
Yeah.
Cause we do rumble strips, you know, across the whole pavement for 10 feet long or something. It wakes people up if nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Say it's not on.
Mr. Chairman, we could save a lot of money. And Carl, we could save a tremendous amount of money if we petition the state just to lower our speed limit in the village. In the village, that's where our problem is. You know, putting up blinking signs, it's gonna be very, very expensive. I think if we petition the state to lower the speed limit here in the village, then let law enforcement take over. And we can lower that speed limit just like every other town has. Not 35, not 72. Not coming around the corner here sideways and going by the store 50, 60 miles an hour. I mean, how good are those signs gonna be to the people that abuse the speed limit? All right, until they get a ticket.
But they're already abusing the speed limit, and so.
They surely are. My recommendation is that we lower the speed limit to 25 or 30 within the village, and that's where our streetlights are. And let law enforcement take care of it.
I don't disagree with the concept, but it's not, in my view. Correct me when I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, but in my view. We only have our 10 hours a week. I mean, we could have the speed limit 5 miles an hour out here. But unless we want to go the route of Bridgewater and some of these other places, we don't have enough. We can't enforce 30, or we can't enforce 35. How in hell are we going to enforce 25 or 30?
Yeah.
It's not going to be any different. It's if somebody gets nipped, it's going to cost them a little more because the speed limit's lower and the fence is higher. And that needs to happen. We need to have more enforcement. I 100% agree. But a lower speed limit, in my view, isn't gonna solve the issue. Until a bunch of folks really get tagged and.
Well spoken.
Or we can have. We still need to buy an old Crown Vic and a dummy with a holding the hair dryer. That would be the best enforcement we could get us. It really would, moving around 3 or 4 times a week or something. I don't know, I agree with you, but I don't agree with you. Or whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
And long and short of it, we don't have a village. That's,
Not a true village limit that's been established. Right.
we don't have a distinct village that has never been.
Right.
Every map has this line and that line, but
We have a historic district and we have a downtown area that we don't have a village.
because there's not the village government type of thing. So, the street light is close to being what you would call the village area, but you
Well,
can't,
what are the streetlights for?
you can't,
Safety and visibility, sure.
you can't word it in the village because it can be beat because you don't have a village. It could be a certain distance from the intersection, or it could be, once again, we're talking about the state highway 133. Just like when them truck drivers left with that backhoe. I thought they were headed to 91, they said they were going on 133, and they pulled out of Montvert Road, they headed south on 133. At 6:30, 7 o'clock at night.
Patty's done something bad.
Thank you, Isaac. We actually do have a designated village center. The town has a designated village center. I don't know if that's what you mean by a village, Carl.
But as far as wording it, a speed limit for the village. But this would be something the state would do, so they can word it however they want.
Did that, Patty, did that come about in the last, with that last update of the map that we just had this year?
No, it happened, the planning commission created the village center so that we could get grants. And it was renewed a few years ago, but we do have a designated village center.
Thank you for remembering that.
When, where, and what is it? That like, is it by the streetlights or what's the designation?
No, there would be some sort of a map. I'm not exactly sure what that map is. It may follow the historic district, it may not. But somewhere on the Agency of Commerce and Community Development or the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, we have the map in that back room in a folder All the village center stuff is in the town file.
Okay.
I don't know if it means anything to this. It could be apples and oranges, but we do, because I'm not sure what Carl's meaning when he says we don't have a village, and so therefore we don't have village boundaries or whatever that might mean. I don't know how these things connect. I just know we do have a designated village center.
Yeah, a number of years ago, the Historical Society, I believe, when they were, pursuing some of the historical designations, they tried to define a village, and that never was fully finished. I think that's probably what Carl was referring to, but.
Robert, do you know if the county, the sheriff's speed cart, whenever that's back online, is to put that on 133, we would again need state permission to do that, right? Or,
Yeah. I have a number of things to say. I don't wanna interrupt you with your,
No, I mean, it pertains to the,
don't lose your train of thought. I'll be back. David Fox. Has his bin coming up at odd hours now, which is very, very good.
Yeah.
We have an officer, Terry knows, I know, and a few other people know. We have an officer out at 10:30 at night, and he was nabbing. Thank you, David. I spoke to the Vermont State Police, and he parked in my dooryard, and he said, Robert, what's the speed limit? And I said, well, it's 35. And he says, well, it's not posted. I spoke to Officer Rowland several months ago. He said the same thing. And I'll repeat myself. Someone coming off from South Street and getting onto 133 here, legally he can do 50 miles an hour until he hits the 35 or 40 mile an hour sign. All right, so we definitely have to get that sign up. Chuck spoke to me that he's willing to put the sign up, but where do we put the sign? Okay. And the corner of Burdock, we really don't have much room there, Carl. To put a sign. We'd have to put it on the other side of the bridge. And, of course, we don't want to make a hindrance for those people that live there. Maybe after the bridge, we could put the sign. Another good location is right past the store. Do you own that property, Carl? Would you mind if the town put a delineator post with a 35 mile an hour speed limit sign right there?
I mean, if we have to put one, the best place to put it is right here on the property line. If you gotta put a 35 speed limit sign around this corner, the best place would be put it right out here at this property line.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a-
visible.
between the town office and the store.
Yeah, right where that,
The area.
yeah, right where that Jersey barrier is, you just gotta make sure it's set back far enough. That would be the place. If we want it visible. To make it more enforceable, that's the place to put it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, especially the people that are in violation, how to fight a speeding ticket, but there's a lot of smart people out there too. And that's what law enforcement is afraid of. Both state troopers, but I think it's great. Saturday night or Friday night and 10:30 at night, and he was nabbing them. Good job. Another question I have is, people walking, and Jenny, do you feel safe in the summertime walking from your house to work?
I'm always on guard.
Yeah, you're petrified, aren't you?
Petrified, but I'm aware
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, and I cross back and forth depending on,
You had
Where I
nowhere
have
to
to-
go.
yeah.
Bear Grylls are
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
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 You know, when we first moved into town, my wife says, oh, good, I can walk to the library and I can walk to the store. Nice. She tried it once. Someone blew the horn and told her, get the hell out of the road. Very nice. You know? And then second, I received a nice letter in my mailbox. You know, remember that a number of years ago? So, whatever. Go ahead, Carl, I'm done.
I guess, have we heard anything on our West Street property
From the engineer?
after it been submitted?
No, right now, we're currently, it's submitted and he's presuming that it'll be 2 to 3 weeks is what it used to take. Probably a little longer now.
Did we ever get what was submitted?
Yes, we did. I sent it to Robin, I know. I don't know if you got a chance. Do you want me to send it out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
forward it to
yeah.
me, because I think we need to know
Mhm.
what we're looking for down there, you know, what is the option? If there is no, from the survey and what was submitted, if there is no viable option on West Street, we need to start seriously looking other
Yeah.
places. You know, I mean, we can chase this for a long time, but the days are clicking away.
Okay. This is your email, right? You're getting all my emails?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks a lot like all those fake emails that I get from Patty and Ron.
Just send them Visa cards.
Yeah. So what he sent me was actually, he said it's too big for an email, so what I just forwarded to you is this is a link to a drive.
Okay.
And then when you click on it, you get,
Do we have any maps or?
we do.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch, and then we get down to. That's the.
In terms of, you know,
There.
sheriff or.
Which makes it look like that's-
Somebody stopping.
That's the
writing a
property,
ticket.
but-
No, that would be our property line, you know,
Stop
our survey
line.
of the property line.
There's various ways to do
Then,
the
so here is,
speed ticket if it, unless things have changed last time, there's the,
but that's the floodplain per
say you want a trial. and you go to
hydraulic
court, and if the cop doesn't
analysis,
show
so
up,
this is
Right.
boom, you're
currently the
you're
floodplain
safe anyway.
in that.
So-
property,
And
I mean,
even if
there's
you,
various different ways, but I think,
Which I'm assuming
That
is
should not-
proposed.
or if.
Isaac, if you send that stuff to me, I can print it and have it in a file for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
100% legally, there's a lot of other areas
That
throughout
gotta
the
be the
state
existing
that aren't,
house, yeah.
you know,
So
perfect.
the plot, this area. would
That
be what
shouldn't
they're
stop
asking
them from
to
writing
take out.
tickets.
Just green.
And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
initial stop should be just.
So we would get all of that, like half
Somebody
of
getting
that.
nabbed for
gravel
speeding and getting the
content.
ticket, whether they beat it or not, isn't the point, but if they get stopped, that should
they can be,
hopefully.
yeah, they can be stopped by probably
100-year
dogs,
floodplain.
All right.
hydraulic.
Tail light. anything. You know,
And then-
a license plate light, you know. And by the way, I have you on radar, 15 over.
Right.
I think these are pump.
So it sounds like, I mean,
Those are, so then this is.
we don't
one here.
lose anything by asking the state to,
That's it.
go through this.
Robert, I feel that this is probably the cheapest way of spending, instead of spending $7,000.
Mhm.
You know, I was all for these blinking lights, but what we think of
It's
it,
a couple feet.
we can't
like,
afford it. The
we're
hell
talking
of
about
a
4
money.
feet difference from over there.
Is it gonna work?
59, 58, 60.
It might work sometime and it might not. But what will work?
So of
is
course,
press ticket.
yeah.
Yeah, it's this, all right? Because that
This-
goes on the
this
record
is the
with
gravel,
state,
is that
like
path.
3 points.
This is
If you're over
basement door.
10, 15, 20, if you're over 20, that's, you lose your license for 30 days. And we have people that are well over 20 miles an hour, you know? I feel that we, to see if we can lower the speed limit.
But that doesn't mean we can't use this, it's just we can't.
David's doing
We can store
all he
stuff, we
can.
can build.
So
houses
this-
with the
He
separate-
has a very
pipes.
tight budget.
Like,
So this outreach
you
is
can't put
about
both
putting
in,
it
but it might be
Would that be
over
the-
here,
division to district garage, or would that be?
right,
Yeah,
the whole
maybe the-
left side of the driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looks like it would be pulled out.
and you said that's part of the car, is that
Site
it?
plan
Yeah.
for FEMA.
Yeah.
We'll,
So this is where, yeah, this is their.
And the 200 above there. Take that.
and now, which is very, very good, we have the Vermont State Police.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of
As a
them not
process of
stamping
having
it.
Right.
Doesn't cost the town a penny,
Um,
all right?
If they have the
No.
power to come.
that is the only.
He was parked out here, waiting for people to go through the stop sign.
I guess, is
Apparently
that what
David
that
told
means,
him,
is that's what he's asking to
having
get
some
pulled out?
problems, right?
Okay.
I spoke to him, told him where to sit. He said, thank you very much. But
Mhm.
he did say, what is the
I
speed?
don't know
limit?"
why it wouldn't go that
No,
way.
he-
Oh, this is already out of.
He said, I spoke to Officer
That's already
Rowland, which I
good and
spoke
clear.
to Officer Rowland 3-4
Sorry.
months ago.
Mhm.
So he was kind of asking me, what was the speed limit? He says, you know, I really, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And we get that
you can see it
35.
up here,
Okay,
actually,
right,
from this.
maybe that'll help. And then in the future, maybe we can say, hey, look,
You know, it's
It-
like, it
it's not
follows
working.
the river and. basically a circle.
let's go to the state and see if they'll drop it. You know, I think the last resort is we spend $7,000. And buying something on Amazon for $800,
Right.
$700 isn't gonna work.
Right. So I will contact
Yeah.
Robert Clark about this.
Okay, so I forward it to you, Patty, I'll forward it to you
Yeah,
as well.
and I will go to Rutland and speak with Brian. Personally.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. I'll,
Okay.
I'll go up to AOT and, put a bug in his, I spoke to him on the phone about a month ago.
Carl, anything else on? highway?
Well, Chuck wants to look at some property, look at some garages. And see what would be possibly the best option for Middletown as opposed to being the largest structure in Middletown, you know. We're talking, I think we figured out it's a little over 1,050 feet in this building up here
Mhm.
that they're utilizing now. You know, 40 by 50 is 2,000 square feet, you know, 40 by 60, you know, 2,400. And instead of trying to place 5,000 square feet, which I do believe, talking to fire marshal, labor and industry type thing, that's the area which triggers a sprinkler system. So we were in past conversation on staying underneath that number, but then we had a proposal for a building. It may have been a spinoff of Mount Holly's that Bill had brought us. That was 66 by 80. So that put us a little over the 5,000 square foot.
Mhm.
So, Chuck said, you know, is aware of quite a bit of municipalities around, that the heated part of the building that we utilize wouldn't have to be massive,
Right.
that if it's a building with storage, cold storage on the side for seasonal equipment to be stored in, you know, the grader doesn't need to sit inside all the time,
Right.
you know, in a heated building. So. But like he said today, you know, come the 1st of January next year, is is Earl's gonna become getting our equipment every time we gotta touch it, because we have no place to fix that bed chain or change that tire,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, and,
I think we
you
need
know,
to.
they need a facility. You know, walking over to the Porta John at 20 below.
And if we're going to pursue
and
that,
our
so
men
we need to get to
having lunch,
doing the perk
and
test.
they can't wash their hands.
Because nothing is,
Yeah. And what we
you
need
know,
is
well,
place-
it's there, but we need to start from scratch on the subject.
So, we don't need,
If the plan is to go forward down there, we need to get going on that too.
Right.
With parent too. If he's going to do that big, you know, which he's involved,
I mean, it would be nice, but.
Well, we expect
Just
that too.
because we-
experts would say,
A lot of things would be nice.
yeah.
I'm, if looking at this, if this is going to be a feasible option down there. We need to get on the bandwagon to see if what is suitable for a leach field down there and a septic. Cause that's going to just as much govern what we build down there. Or if we end up having to go to a closed system like we do here, you know, that's, I guess, is an option for municipalities, but, we need,
You know, Carl, also, we have to take into consideration that we definitely need a gray water tank to wash our equipment. If you look at the equipment, it's pretty bad. You know, and I looked at the 1 ton with a broken spring. It isn't because the vehicle is overloaded. It's rust. And if salt is not washed off, you know, salt gets into the metal, it's called porosity. And it just eats away. And it just makes things weaker. You know, in the spring of the year, they can wash the equipment, paint up the plows, it's- make the equipment last.
so I'll make the motion that Isaac contact Frank Perrin to inquire about what needs to be done for perk test on that property to see. Because we need to rule it out or rule it in one way or the other, you know, we can't just sit around and wait another month and hope.
As well as just an update, I mean, I'm assuming that when it comes back to us, it will be that, yes, we can pull it out, I'm assuming that's how that.
That they'll issue a NOMA
Yeah,
for this map.
right. I'm assuming it's either like we get it back and it's a yes, or it just sits on their desk forever. I don't know if they like. would
You still
deny
have
it.
that red 3-ring binder that I gave you with the, you know, all the studies and all the stuff we had on the, I don't remember if there was anything in there relative to wastewater. I don't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of work was done on that.
And he has that whole report,
But parent does.
Parent.
Okay.
Got the whole
So,
report.
Yeah,
that
yeah, whole report.
Herb had got to him, so maybe it was done, you know,
Right,
I wasn't involved with that report.
I don't remember if it was in that report or not.
the motion to contact them about wastewater specific.
The sewer,
Viability in that,
you know,
in that,
if that has, you know, what has to be done and what's the time frame for doing it and the cost.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because it turns into being a mound system and you know, won't know that till it perks, but if it's gravel, it should perk, but
Good work.
you don't know what the proximity to the stream, how far it has to be away before they can put an in-ground system in, and
and where the neighbor's well is.
Mhm.
You know, whenever I've tried to get into this document, it says use the, you know, mygov dot.
When, so
So,
the Frank parent one?
no, the application and the file name or, you know, view details, and I click on it and it says.
What, are you, put this link here, or? What did I forward you? All I need is a couple Amazon cards, Robin.
Okay. So it says to go to login.gov. Which I can do.
But that's, so. We're talking about the survey thing, okay, so what I think I forwarded you is just, an email from, long-term engineering with a Google Drive link. Is that not what you got?
I have the letter of, online letter of map change.
Okay, let me try this then, check your email, and we'll send it to you again.
I mean, what you sent me has the drawings and.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
the deed and all of that.
gotcha.
If I wanted content,
If you wanted to contact him.
no, if I wanted to contact,
FEMA?
FEMA,
Sure.
I've got it. You'll use the government ID, which I haven't been.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that.
So yes, I will, I mean, if we need to make the motion, we can, but I'll contact him again. About updates on how this is going and next steps and what it costs might be to get a perk test and where we're at, we'll
So
build in on that.
I know Frank, we should use Frank because he did all of this.
Mhm.
But just had one done by Tim Chmielewski in Wells, and his soil test part was $300.
Okay.
Plus the excavating.
Okay.
Just as a
ballpark.
But then you got the design.
Oh, yeah, completely separate. Yeah, this is just suitable or not.
He put the whole septic in for $300.
Yeah.
Terry,
Okay,
I did you second that?
I didn't, but
I'm not
if
gonna
we
tell
need to
you,
be
but,
emotional, we can, but I'll do it.
We should.
Mr.
We should
Harrison, Jake Bright,
because
Yeah.
we're sending money.
I did address that.
Gotcha.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I don't wanna mention anything on,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
so I think this moves us through highway and
The
town line.
Carl, that was a motion that Carl
We did
did
have a
for me to
motion
contact
for Carl
her
to-
regarding inquiry.
Okay.
Quote and.
Related to wastewater permitting perk testing, it's like on the One Street program.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now you can go on.
Okay. Moving on to solid waste. Cold weather.
Cold weather. Yeah, it'll be what it'll be. I tried calling, I was in Castleton at the doctor's appointment, so I tried calling on the cell phone. And see if I could get a container. I could hear them perfectly fine, but she couldn't hear me for some reason. By the time I got back, I neglected to call again, so. I forgot today, so. But I went up and ran the equipment this afternoon. I'll go up again tomorrow. Later in the afternoon and run it, and. Personally, I mean, I could, you know, who knows. But I think it'll be fine. The air temperature is not that unusual. It's the wind chill. I mean, we were, what, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, we were 12, 15 below zero, 2 different times. And we're gonna be equivalent to that. 9 or 10 below or whatever, but it's some wind chill, which shouldn't affect the equipment as much, I think it'll be what it'll be, and if it doesn't work, we'll have to put up a sign saying, not open.
Better luck next time.
And unfortunately, the snow that's coming in Sunday
Snow's coming in.
to Monday, we're on that
Saturday.
borderline between 6 here and the Massachusetts line's at 18.
Yeah,
So, we'll see where that line falls.
that could shift, but right
You
now.
know,
we're
3 to 6 for Burlington, but Bennington South could be 12 to 18.
18, we're clearly right.
So we can't really throw it in the back of the dump truck to take it to Hubbard's on Monday.
Right. Correspondence.
Okay, correspondence, we have.
So I put some vehicle, yeah, you're gonna give those to Carl?
I am,
Good.
unless you wanna come down and give them to him.
No, I just put them in there because I figured he'd get them now instead of 2 weeks from now.
Yes, thank you, Patty. I have vehicle insurance cards for all of the vehicles.
You see that, Robert? You see what we're doing right there? We got the vehicle insurance cards.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
We have.
It's up to somebody to put them in the vehicles, not me.
Okay, I will speak to Chuck and Philip in the morning.
We have an email from Pete Fireburns relative to, if you remember, they switched to only online billing. And so we have a username and they have given us a temporary password, so we need to log in and set our own password, and that should probably not be Patty's. She doesn't
Right,
want-
so the reason, yeah, I put that in there. I'm fine with doing it, but I think we either need a second account for the road commissioner because you're gonna want to be able to access those bills when you need to, and I might not be there, right?
Right,
So you're the one gonna be looking for a bill that might not have shown up.
so we could that should either be Chuck or Carl, or we could set up.
Right,
I don't
so
know if we
basically
ever
it's,
did, but you could set up an account here. Whatever, right?
right, I'd have one. I will set one up, but I want someone else to also have one so that, and I'm going to, if, once you could decide who and give me the information, I'll let the girl know and make sure that that they can do 2 accounts and
Yeah.
try to make it as easy as possible, but I don't think that, because I'm just gonna be a black hole when you're looking for something.
Right, no, understood. Okay, we got another love letter statement from Hubbard's, we had one back in October. And I got some information and haven't gotten any further, I'm gonna leave it for I'm gonna put it in the auditor's file. The first statement we got back in October was $7,713 with a big red line for it, red arrow to it. So I called saying, what the heck is this? And they said, well, there's always a balance to it, whatever. And I said, we pay our bills once every 2 weeks. We pay off the invoices we get. We, as a board, as far as I know, have never seen a statement, so this was all new to me. So I asked her to send copies of the statements for the entire year, which she did. And so now our balance is down a little bit, it's down to $6,594. And Jenny said there's always been a balance. There's always been a balance, we don't pay the finance charge, we don't pay a late fee. So she doesn't know, she'd like to know where the heck this balance comes from.
Is that balance accrued all the late charges and finance fees that we don't
I
pay?
have no idea. We, like I said, we have never seen. I
Yeah,
don't know if anybody wants to see that, but we have that. I'm gonna ask the auditors if they would like to research it further. I don't know.
I'm gonna continue my perfect record of having never seen it.
There you go. I don't blame.
I mean, we need to get it figured out before the end of this budget year to, because obviously looking back to 1 year, we can't figure out, it ranged from 33, we looked at that night, it ranged from 33 to 7,600 or something. A balance month to month to month. But it never showed going back a year. That outstanding balance it kept coming forward, so it's more than a year old.
Yeah, somebody there needs to go back and find the outstanding invoices. They should have that in their records.
Yeah.
What invoices were not paid, and you probably never got them. Do you remember, Terry, a couple years ago when we had something wrong with the compactor and we never got a bill for it?
Yes, I mentioned that at one of our meetings, that that bill came in a little over a year from the problem. All of a sudden, somebody.
Right,
got
but I
knocked
think
back.
there was another time when beyond that one, there was another time when we had the compactor fixed, and they fixed it. And then 2 weeks later, they had to come back and fix it again, and we only got one bill, and we never got the bill for the first time they fixed it. And my spidey senses says it's something like that, where that bill never got to us.
Yeah, no, I think it's something on their end for sure, but.
Well, or it's mail, right? We never got the original invoice, so we can go back and look for what invoices we had and what invoices we paid back 7 years. But if we don't know which one is outstanding, I mean, we're never going to find the one that we never got. That's my point. They need to tell us the one we never got so we can look at it. You can look at it and say, oh, yeah, that makes sense and we should pay it. Or no, that doesn't make sense and we shouldn't pay it. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm thinking we never got a bill that they sent.
Right. And the other correspondence we have is an application for Conservation Commission from Daniel Brooks on Guerin Road. And that's it for new correspondence.
You have one open seat on the Conservation Commission for it till 2028. If you look on the town website, I'll tell you that. Or something like that.
Is that appointed?
It's an appointed, yes, and it is appointed for a certain amount of years.
So if we could appoint that person, that would give us a full commission. That'd be really rare, wouldn't it? But one of our commissions would be full, in other words.
Mara Hurst was.
We want to act on this application before it gets away.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year seat and it goes to 2028.
I will move to appoint Daniel Brooks to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term.
I'll second that.
Expiring in 2028.
Expiring
not
in
really
2028.
It's not 3 years from now. It's a term that expires in 2028.
Daniel Brooks to complete the 3-year term expiring in 2028.
There you go. Good point there.
Patty,
Yeah.
is he on the checklist yet?
Good question.
Good question. Did I actually check that? I don't remember. Give me a minute.
I guess the motion should be that upon being on the checklist, we accept the position.
Cause is he?
Well, I can check it if you just move on and give me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have to get in the right Google thing and so I can get onto the elections management system.
We got a salt delivery January 8th. And so and we have some of that now. But
Yes.
no more.
He looked at the long range forecast and thought, well, get in line to get it, and found out it wasn't a possibility.
You get in line, it's just a long line and no end to wait.
I used to own a lot. Smith's house, where the tow truck rolled over the other day,
Huh, maybe.
that 169.
Mhm.
Which, do we know which property is 169, Garen?
Yeah,
Yes.
for Brooks, that's Linda Peavy's old house.
Davies and Smiths, that's what I
Well,
was,
that was the one,
I was thinking that was in that neighborhood, across from Rich's.
across from Rich's, huh?
And they used to have a dairy in West Hall.
Wayward Goose.
Wayward Goose Farm, yeah.
Yeah, right next to Consider Barber. Their outbuilding is now in Virginia as a private chapel, thanks to Green Mountain.
Yes, he is on the checklist.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a motion and a second and a registered voter.
That's a good bit. All right.
Aye.
Aye.
It would appear that we found the $200 trucking fee, Terry, that we were questioning last meeting.
I don't know, I haven't seen,
Yeah,
it's on there now.
well, this one has 2 trucking fees on this one, so.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
I didn't figure it would go unnoticed.
do you want to notify Dan or should I? Sorry.
Go ahead. I
Okay,
have no idea who he is, but that's
I've known him for quite a while.
Oh, have you known?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
All right, I'm gonna bow out now that I've saved your asses a couple times tonight.
Okay. But your work is only half done.
Yeah, the other
Thank
thing I
you.
was gonna say is remember Monday, snowstorm or not, is the deadline for petitions for running for office.
Yeah, but thank you, Patty. What are your hours tomorrow?
1 to 4.
1 to 4,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you,
Have a
Patty.
good night.
Thank you,
Good night.
Patty.
Um,
Up too, he's been a dairy farmer and he's interested in forest health and tree identification, and he'd like to be tree warden.
yeah, we'll work up to that.
Yeah, that's right. Just keep that seed planted. Keep it back in moves.
You can't pay him less now. Well, should be. And I didn't know if that was gonna say, yeah.
Seems like it did.
Yeah, he sort of. Well, we can sign the last time we. I figured I'd wait and see.
Yeah. It seems to. Yeah.
Incoming.
That seemed to be working now.
I have to wait for them to fill out the weekly sheets.
You have the one.
Wait for the weekly sheets to be filled in.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not getting.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
They're gonna back them back and take us, start on Monday to get them by noon. I got out of there at 20 minutes of 12 on Tuesday. I go home, finally pick the back there by noon. That's it. And I had got out of the building in time with Patty when generally helping me to do it. There's just the noon just to make sure I,
Yeah. Yep. Sounds like. It's barely working.
Yeah, Chuck wasn't really good paperwork. Building puts it in his truck. You take it home, fill it out. And you go home and get it. He was in a lot. So. They were saying in the room to go back and fill that hole. There's plenty of time riding around the half roads.
Yeah.
Good.
Isaac, are you going to med school soon?
What's that?
Are you going to med school soon? I'm just
Med school.
looking at your signature here.
That's my art signature.
Oh,
I'm an artist. When in art school, I realized I can't read any signature
uh-huh.
ever on any
No.
painting. So I was like, wow, so I have to do that too,
Yeah,
obviously.
well, congratulations.
I did it. I made it.
Who's doing?
My sister was partner for a while, was a professional artist, and I went to the bank, and he was like, then he wrote a note guaranteeing loan or something, and the teller said, give it to me, I'll know his signature. I said, yeah, that's Steve.
Yeah.
And it was totally a lot. Yes, spoilers.
I've done by a lot of crews working on houses. I've never seen them smiling like that. Through the ad for V-Trans in the back of the hunting ad. Never seen them smiling like that on the road.
Oh. So Carl.
Yes.
The week ending January 9th.
They'll put in 11 hours maintenance on the single axle. Was there something major with it, or was it just, you know? And I'm not trying to nitpick, I'm just really, it seems like more than just checking it for the roads, and, you know.
No, I mean, that paperwork is pretty much useless, that sheet of paper, so, I mean, yeah, the explanation, so. What's being done.
Orders.
Motion to pay the orders as signed.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved 4-0. And have not heard of anything legal issues this evening. Do we want to? Terry, you want to talk about your resolution on the other business?
Or why not? I passed this around just for discussion purposes a couple of weeks ago. Sadly, I don't think things have gotten any better throughout the country and or around the world. And I tried to just make a simple, very simple statement. I will say the town of Williston passed a resolution this week.
I haven't read it, but I've heard.
I read it on TV and I didn't look it up, but there's a little more verbiage on this, but due to the same principles. Sadly, I will say, the first sentence is pretty generic, I think. And the second sentence is pretty generic until the very end, and I realized that's kind of, and I have to say, unfortunately, it's kind of harsh and whatever. But it's also nowhere near harsh enough for the nonsense that's going on. And I'm really ashamed. I'm freaking ashamed to be an American, quite honestly. The way things are going around this country and around the world. You know, every one of us, other than every one of us here in this country, unless we can directly trace our lineage to a Native American somehow, we're all immigrants here. Every stinking one of us. That's right. And I don't know, I'm just can't even put into words. It makes me so freaking angry.
And
Disgusted anyway, just disgusted, disappointed and disgusted.
Yeah.
So,
It is harsh, but
yeah.
it could say, you know, I don't know. Or whatever.
There was some discussion at that meeting of changing some wording before we adopt it. Has there been any work on that?
Sean and I both said we would do that, and I don't believe either one of us has yet.
Okay. This is not anything that's going on the ballot, so until we do that, can it wait and not rush it then?
Well, you can, it could be very simple, I mean, it depends on how much you wanna change, you could say, you know, with the, I mean, I don't know, you would know if we wanna. Single out Donald Trump, but he's the biggest problem, and, you could just say, other
We could-
governmental agents, or.
Right, or we could focus on the inclusionary part of it. Let's focus on the fact that we believe that everyone should and has the right to be here, and that they're welcome here. And I mean, I agree with every word of it, but we represent more than
Yeah,
just the 5 people in this room.
well, yeah, and obviously there are. There are plenty of folks in town, I'm sure, that. I won't say they agree with the way things are being done, but. They would be supporters of the administration, and that's fine. I have no problem with that, but. The things we're seeing, I think all of us would say we never thought we'd live long enough to see. This kind of stuff going on in this country. Doesn't necessarily have to be done tonight, but I do think we should.
Absolutely.
We should do something soon. And call it like it is.
Excuse me.
And like I said, I wouldn't be offended if I introduced it and whatever, and it didn't pass, so, yeah.
Terry, it's just history repeating itself.
It is, absolutely.
You look at 1938, when he invaded Czechoslovakia, and it's just history repeating itself. This goes all the way back to biblical time.
It does, truly, yes. And, we have all these. We thought we had all these safeguards in the Constitution and the Supreme Court and.
The checks and balances, and we find out we have no checks and and there is no balance.
Not if you poke them. If you believe in them, they're there, but if you poke them.
And everything that's being done is just, there's lawsuit after lawsuit just clogs up the court system, and by the time those things are ever adjudicated, it's. 3 or 4 years down the road or more, it's too late, whatever. So I don't know, I'm not only disappointed in. Who I'm sad to say is a president, but I'm disappointed on the other side too. Back in the days of George Aiken and. Other.
That way,
Yeah.
They, you can disagree, and I'm a strong proponent, people need to disagree, we shouldn't all. See everything the same way, it'd be a pretty dull world if we all agreed 100% of the time on everything, it'd be pretty friggin' dull.
I disagree.
But they could disagree.
I pretty much got that covered.
They could disagree, but then they could still go out for lunch together, and they were friends.
Right, yeah.
Didn't agree on policy or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're not that way anymore. It's how they can all, that's even more disgusting when they do this stuff and they all circle the wagons and say the same thing.
So when we went to see Jenny at the post office, there was a sign on the wall saying that you couldn't mail a package to the United States anymore because of overly aggressive and bullying policies implemented by the US government.
That was in the post office.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's another version, it's tepid. I know, doesn't come close to what any of us want to say.
It's just a little tepid.
Yeah.
Bad.
Mhm.
Or we could just say something to the, I don't know.
About hereby resolved, the Middletown Springs Select Board is disgusted.
Mhm.
I might not be fast over
Mhm.
completely disgusted with the actions of the world.
But.
That was a note to read, what, Williston Road?
Right, and then I was like,
No.
yeah.
Should we wait and see if Sean has any more input on it before we adopt something? Or try to adopt something?
We're come next week with another,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd love to see it be a full board.
thank you, Kevin.
Well, we thought that back in December too, when somebody was on vacation, couple times.
It's despicable.
I think we need a brief.
Executive session.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm leaving, but if, one thing before I leave, and I don't want to discuss this in public behind camera, but, when, if you need to speak to me about, the CDL and the EDD and why wasn't he registered, I'm willing to,
Is that part of the discussion, executive
Mm,
session discussion, or is that a different topic?
no, I don't think it has to be.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay,
But
thank
if
you.
you need to talk to me, Terry,
We know where you live.
yeah.
And we can put notes in your mailbox.
Yeah.
I have to pick it off the ground, but
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I know where you live, but I'm usually going too fast.
Right next to Mary Mars. Yeah, but just don't speed behind the house in the summertime, because Carl has his hay wagon there, and I don't wanna be picking up hay. But if you need any questions answered, we will get to the bottom of it. And,
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And
thank you for
there's,
the-
Thank you for all your help.
yeah, there's all, there's a lot of different ways that, I'll speak to you later. I don't like cameras. Reminds me of when I was in prison.
Not a moment's peace.
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Good night.
Good night.
Don't forget, by 5 o'clock Monday.
What's that?
Don't forget, by 5 o'clock Monday.
That's
Right,
gotta get
yeah.
permission.
Yeah, and Chuck ordered donuts tomorrow morning, so I gotta go to Rutland at 6 o'clock in the morning to get Chuck's donuts.
Oh,
Good, you're good.
well trained. Okay, move into executive session at 9:23 to discuss
Personnel legal.
personnel issues.
No second. At what, 9:23?
23.
You second it?
Yeah,
Any other business this meeting?
Scheduling a meeting with the highway employees.
That's our action item, that's a.
Um, do we,
So.
do we?
So we have.
We don't have a calendar anymore.
Alright, well, so we have January 29th for Thursdays, we have the 29th, and we have February 5th. Before, those are the 2 Fridays before our regular meeting on the 10th.
Regularly, so this is our 3 weeks then?
Yeah. We finally had a 3-week stint, we
Let's-
gotta fill
Finally
it.
got a 3 week stint, let's bite the bullet and do it next week, so we still have.
That would be January 29th. Yeah,
One free week.
Yep. I would be free with that.
So I have a commitment at 6:30, could we,
On
on,
the 29th.
yeah.
Okay.
Well. Yeah, and it wouldn't have to be, doesn't necessarily have to be Thursday either, I suppose, could do it on Tuesday or, I don't know.
We do like the days that start with T, don't
We do,
we?
I'm wide open on the 27th.
Okay.
You wanna do 2, let's see if Carl can get them. That
Tuesday.
depends on weather too, of course.
Right, so that's
yeah.
next
We
week.
might be getting that 8 and 12 inches of snow Sunday afternoon into Monday,
Yeah.
so I suppose they clean up on Tuesday.
Would we wanna go to the following Tuesday, the 3rd, February 3rd?
So what we've got so far is Robert can't do the 29th. And the 27th seems a little too soon, that's Tuesday next week, it seems a little too soon after the snowstorm. Right? We wouldn't wanna pull them,
No,
so then we're into Tuesday, February 3rd.
want to do it Tuesday or Thursday,
Or Thursday, yeah, it doesn't matter.
whichever works for you guys.
Does anyone have a preference?
I prefer Tuesday.
Prefer Tuesday?
Tuesday the 3rd,
We'll shoot for that, schedule a meeting with each of our highway employees.
what time do you think earlier would be better for them, or 7?
Tuesday. February 3rd, then,
Tuesday, February 3rd.
and
What works for you guys?
I'm flexible.
every day Saturday to me, so.
I thought it was gonna be, but it's not.
Really
Shoot,
not.
shoot for 7 o'clock.
7?
My suggestion would be that we meet with Chuck first. And then decide whether we want to include Chuck in the next. When we,
And plan on half-hour meetings? Okay.
So you have them both there, Chuck come in at 6 and Philip at 6:30. See where we
Or
go.
do we say
7 or 7:30, or 6,
6 or 7, sorry, yeah. 7?
why don't we do 7,
7 o'clock.
7:30,
7, 7:30, okay.
Yeah.
February 3rd?
Yeah.
And this would be a warned meeting? Is this a public,
No, it's non-public, but.
not public, but warned?
No, it's personnel evaluation.
Okay.
Yeah, non-public.
But no, so we just,
Just warned.
for personal,
Yeah.
issue, that's all you put in. That's it.
We'll move to adjourn. Yeah, looks like consensus coming.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, 9:54.
9:54, thank you.